a long problem question here. It is functions with calculus. So NRG radiators manufacture home heating radiators, and the cost of manufacturing whatever amount of radiators that you would like can be modelled using the following cost function. What that means is, if you want to make 100 radiators, you'd fill 100 into the cost function. If you wanted to make 1,000, you'd fill 1,000 in, and so on. How much will it cost for NRG to manufacture 10 radiators on a particular day? So we're just going to fill in 10, and that will tell me how much. It is €745. So it will cost me €745 to make 10 radiators. The revenue made from selling question mark machines, if you sell 10 or 20 or 1,000, is given by this following function. 200x minus 0.5x squared. For students that don't know what revenue is, that's how much money a business generates. That doesn't mean how much profit they'll make. Revenue is the money that comes in. You then have to take away all your costs, and that will give you your profit. Here, they're selling 10 machines, so I'm fitting in 10 for x. Pop the whole lot into your calculator and you will get 1,950. My cost of making 10 radiators was €745, and the revenue that was generated was 1,950. Calculate the profit made on the sale of 10 machines. Profit is where you bring in whatever amount of money that you have from selling the machines, take away how much they cost you to produce, will leave you with the profit. Now, they did give you that, which was generous of them. Revenue. Your revenue was 1,950. Your cost was 745. Take the two away. You didn't have to put them in brackets. I'm just doing that for the video. And you will get €1,205 there. So 1,205 is your profit. Right, on to the next page here. So we need to show that the profit function can be written as minus 0.5x squared plus 135x minus 95. As we discussed in the last part, profit equals revenue take cost. You have a formula for cost, you have a formula for revenue, so you're going to make a new formula for your profit. Profit equals revenue, which was given to you in part B, 200x minus 0.5x squared. I'm taking that from here, everyone. Take away my cost. My cost formula is 65x plus 95. So that's where I got those figures from. There actually is a little bit of work to do now. Profit will equal, there's nothing in front of this bracket here, so that's 200x minus 0.5x squared minus times 65 is minus 65x, and minus times 95 is minus 95. Your profit will equal, you're going to put your x squared first, they've asked for it like that, minus 0.5x squared. Your x's will be next, 200, take away 65, which is 135x and minus 95. And that is your profit function. So we now know how we do that. Use P, the differentiated version of x, the first derivative, to find the number of radiators that will maximize NRG's profit. I'm sure lots of students are thinking, well, hang on, surely the more you sell, the more money you make. Not quite. You see, when you draw this as a graph, we know x squared x and a number is always an n or a U-shaped graph. It's an n in this case because it's negative. Sometimes the more you sell, your profit starts to go down. That depends on expenses and costs and things like that. So it's a little bit more complicated and more complex than just, oh, let's stick it in, you know? So we're going to take our profit function and we're going to do our steps because I see the word maximize. Part F is find the maximum profit. So often they'll split our 4 steps that we've learned up. If you were really unsure what to do where, you do all 4 in both, okay? If you were really unsure. Let's write down my profit function, which is minus 0.5x squared plus 135x minus 95. And step 1 is to differentiate that. 2 times minus 0.5x, that is minus 1x. You reduce the power by 1. Plus 135x, we know the x just deletes, leaving me with 135, and the number deletes. Step 2, I let that equal to 0. Step 3, I'm going to solve this by doing letters on one side and numbers to the other. So this 135 comes over here and I get minus 135. You just want x, which is 135. So I did minus 135 divided by minus 1, giving me 135 radiators is the ideal to make the maximum profit. Then find the maximum profit. So we're going to substitute this back into the original, the profit formula. And you're going to fill in 135. So I have subbed it back into the original. And I'm just going to double check my work. I pre-did this question, however, just in case I wouldn't like to write down the wrong answer. So what I'm doing is I'm popping the whole thing here into my calculator. And that's fine. I got €9,017.50. So the maximum profit that I can earn on any given day is $9,017.50. So that's a really good little question. And we're not finished yet. On to the third part. Very unusual, and this is a mock, so it would be very unusual for the leaving cert, for them not to give you the function and to put it into the calculator, you know, with the boxes and things, but they want you to graph that function, the profit function. So I've rewritten it out here because they would likely give it to you. If you're on a sharp, well, on a new one you can do it, but most students will be filling in 20, 40, 60, 80 and so on. On our Casio, the majority of students will do menu and 3 and type in your function to f of x minus 0.5 alpha close bracket squared plus 135 alpha close bracket minus 95. G of x, you're going to skip over. They tell you to start at nothing and end at 240 actually up here. So start at 0, end at 240, and they give you a hint to use steps of 20. Again, I think they'd give you a table, okay, on the day, but that's what that would look like. And we will get all of our x's and y's in order to be able to plot them. So your first one is 0 and minus 95, which would be, down here somewhere. Then we've got 20 and 2405, so it's just going to be an estimate. 40 and 4505. 60 and 6205. I'm just tapping down here to get the next few up. 80 and 7505. 100 and 8405. 120 and 8905. 140 and 9005. Again, I'm just tapping down to get the next few there. 160 and 8705. These are all just estimates or approximates here. 180 and 8005. 200 and 6905. 220 and 5405. And 240 and 3505. You would always freehand a curve. I'm not going to draw it in a marker in case it just doesn't come out for me. So always freehand your curve. You never use a ruler. Unless it's a straight line, of course. That wouldn't be a curve then, would it? And there is your profit function. How much profit will NRG radiators produce if they sell 220 radiators? So you want to go to 220 here and draw up, you can use a ruler if you wish, until you hit it, and then draw across. These here do not need to be accurate. I repeat, they do not need to be accurate. You have an allowance. We actually have the 220. They tell you there 220 is 4505, but, pardon me, 5405. If you made some sort of an estimate, was it 220? Let me see. 220, 5405. Oh, I seem to have plotted him a little bit wrong. He needed to be down a tiny bit more. Oopsie. Sorry about that. So actually, he'll be a little bit under that guy there. And we just rub out that top line. I should have maybe pre-drawn the graph. Sorry about that. But any sort of an estimate of 5,400 or 450 or anything like that would do the job fine. And then here, how many radiators must be produced to make a profit of 7,000? So you go to 7,000. You go across until you hit the graph. Again, you can use a ruler if you wish. I just don't have one to hand there quickly. And then go down. So between 60 and 80 is 70. So I could sell 70, or if you keep on going across here, look, and you hit again and go down, I get 200. So 70 or 200. The official answers on them are 65 or 195. So that would be absolute perfection if you were a computer, but you will have a huge tolerance of an allowance on that. So anything in and around that, you will be correct.